Okay, so we'll get started. Thanks everybody for coming along. It's great to see some familiar faces we've seen before. Tonight we're talking a little about area-specific drills when we mentioned circle defence, centre court, and shooters. And I had a bit of a think about that, and that's a really broad subject to cover. And having coaches who probably work at all different levels of players or athletes, it's probably a bit tricky for me to necessarily cover a lot of the things that you may already know, or it might not necessarily be applicable for the level that you're coaching. You might think it's too young, you might think it's too old. So my first bit of advice would be there's a lot of drills and drills and activities available in books and online and all sorts of places like that. So really there's lots of research you can do out there to find drills and activities that are really specific for your team. Sorry, just as new names come up, I'll write those down. I've got Caroline here. So what I thought we might do tonight, and tell me if this is a mile off where you'd like to go, but I thought what we might do is look through some of the position-specific focuses that we're working with the elite development squads at the present moment, which is essentially our state squads from 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old girls right through to A and C, which is our open group, as well as what some of the work that we're doing with our state programs, like our state teams, our 19s and 17 state programs at the moment. Would you be okay if we looked at a few of the themes and the areas we're working on, and I'll draw a couple of drills and pictures to show some of the ideas that we're doing, and you might be able to then adapt them for your teams. How does that sound?
Yep, that'd be good.
Thumbs up. Okay, I'm glad that, even if it's one thumbs up, I was going that way anyway. So we're away with that, aren't we? So first thing I've got to say, and I apologise if I keep turning my head a little bit, and in a moment I'll put up a whiteboard and we'll work off that. I'll draw a few pictures for you. But the first thing I'd like to say is simple is really good. So, and I often hear coaches when they come to coaching clinics, or Anne-Marie's on there. Sorry, hi. I often hear coaches come to coaching clinics and they say that they would like some really advanced drills, or they'd like the next step, which is fine. That's fine, but my encouragement to you, from whatever age group you're working with, simple is really the best. And when I say simple, it's because more simple things happen in the game than complicated things. So we look for the next advanced drill or the next real challenge, but in a 60-minute game of netball, there's probably only one or two instances of something really complicated where the game is really have quite a simple process of how to play the game. So don't underestimate that most of the trainings, if you came, and you're welcome to come to our state trainings over the next couple of weeks, you'll find there's a lot of simple activities happening, but we just aim to do them really well. So don't get too concerned. And tonight I'll be showing you some activities that you'll probably think, oh, that's fairly simple for, or basic, you might say, for a state level program. But we don't shy away from that. We just need to work on it and do it well. We have Fiona here on the screen too, as a state 17 coach as well. So I'm hoping she gives a nod to that and agrees with what I'm saying. So, yep, thumbs up there again. The other thing is to think about when you're talking, like we're doing position specific. Oh, we got Helen up here too, also works for state programs, which is great. So when we're talking about some of the specific areas, one thing I'd really encourage is, again, not to shy away from repetition is really important. We often think, oh, we don't want to do the same thing. It might get a bit dull or a bit boring for the players, but really I encourage that repetition is a really good way of learning. So just keep repeating it, little different variations, maybe extend it a little bit. I just saw Katie come on the screen, so I'll write her name up here. So I'd encourage that don't be too shy about repetition. All right, so format for the night. I've mentioned I'll talk about a few themes and then I'll draw some activities. If you can certainly feel free to judge me on my drawing skills, but they're not outstanding, but I'll give it my best crack anyway. So when you give some feedback later, feel free to suggest that I could draw a little bit better if you need to. So Rightio. So then, and certainly I'll do these reasonably quickly so we can have plenty of questions and get on with it. Sometimes I talk a bit too long. Right. First thing I would suggest that the focus is, and this is as all coaches, and I hear everywhere I go around the place that we always say that we need to, our basics are good, or we've got to work our basics. We work on those. We need the more advanced stuff, like I mentioned. And I said a moment ago, don't underestimate basic skills, and I actually don't even call them the basic skills. I try to shy away from that, and people have heard me coach before would hear I call them essential skills or core skills, because they're the things that make our game. And whatever age group, where we're talking 8s, 9s, 10s, 11s, 12s, whatever it might be, get really strong on your footwork and balance. Get really, really good at your footwork and balance. Don't, because if we step or we stumble over, we either lose the ball or we get injured. And certainly don't underestimate how important the catching and passing of the ball is. And again, I hear people say we're good at that. If you think you're good at it, well, then ask your players to improve it by 10%. I'll guarantee they will. Then ask them to keep improving, they can. So challenge all the time on improving your catch, your passing, your footwork and your balance. So your landing and your balance. And don't underestimate, because if we aren't strong at those, anything I'll show you tonight, which isn't very complicated, will struggle. And as will your team will. So please don't underestimate those. And when I talk about the catch and pass, I hear people, do you ever hear people training say someone makes a really good catch and they have to jump about 10 foot in the air and full extension, and they fly out to the right and rip in a good pass? Everyone says, fantastic catch. Anyone heard that? We say, great catch, Nick, or great catch, Kelly. If we're really doing it well, I would then challenge it. I would probably say, no, not a great catch. I say poor pass. If someone has to make that good a catch, it's probably a poor pass. So don't just get caught excited about the good catch. Challenge, well, why was the pass out there in the first place? Okay, so I mentioned the format. We'll get onto that, some of the focus. Now, some of the EDS and state focuses, and I used the word simple 3 or 4 times so far, and I'll just use it again. These are some of the things that we're really working hard, particularly in state 19s. Fiona may later on enlighten us what's happening to 17s as well, but through our elite development programs, we're talking about defend to impact. So we're talking about, if we go to defend to make an impact. Don't defend just to defend because the coach says we need to defend, or because the opposition's got the ball. How can we impact with our defense? So, and when we talk about defend to impact, we're pushing a lot around making things happen. So rather than just try to stop their opponent, is there opportunities to get the ball? Can we create situations for turnover? So really thinking about, when we do our defending, we're not just going through the motions. It's about defending to make an impact on the game. And because we often do a lot of work on our attacking game, but how well do we look to defend to impact? Second theme, I just talk about 3 of them tonight, and I talk about attacking on and off the ball. And these little activities we'll all sort of link into that in a moment. So when we talk about attacking on and off the ball, it's, how are we going to score? All right, Chris Webb's here. I thought you were here earlier, Webby. I'll just put your name down. Okay, hello, Chris. So attacking on and off the ball. And so, because we want to score, so when we talk about that, what's our footwork like to lose our opponent when we're trying to make a position down the court or receive the pass? What's our foot like? What's our positioning like when we start? So how hard are we working to get in the right position before the ball comes into our range? How well engaged are we when the ball's 1 or 2 passes away from us? So when we talk about attacking, working on and off the ball, how well are we defending our opponent 3 or 4 passes away from the ball before it comes down the court? We've got Shani there as well. I reckon we'll get about 2 minutes of drills in. I'm just going to keep writing names down all night. So, okay. So how well are we working when we haven't got possession of the ball or it's in our direct range? So we'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. And really simple, and you might find this, a big focus is that we want to score more than the opposition. And you might think, oh, that's obvious, that's common sense. But we want to score more than the opposition, and and when we talk about scoring more than the opposition, I'm talking about scoring lots. We don't, when we're playing junior games, it's nice when we win 12-11, I understand that, or 7-6 in a under 11 games is pretty exciting. But as we get to the higher levels, I'm thinking, well, how do we score more? What do we do to score more than the opposition? So we defend to impact, and we work really hard on and off the ball to give us every chance to score goals. Because I think it's way more exciting scoring goals That's my opinion, and it's certainly as a state program, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get into the contest that we score goals to win, not necessarily just try to stop the bleeding from the opposition scoring goals. Does that make sense? Hope it does. All right, so the first one, I'm going to disappear for a while. I think you'll all disappear. I'm going to put a whiteboard up. I might not disappear. We'll see how we go. See how we go. All right. Okay. Can everyone see that whiteboard? There's a thumbs up. So if I've got 2 thumbs up, that means everyone can see it. All right. First one I've got to talk a little bit about is just getting our positioning. So we'll start with the circle defence area. And the first one we talk about is constantly getting in the right position. So I think most of you would have seen all these things previously, all these activities, but we'll just keep talking the theme. So I'll talk a little bit about the defence straight up, circle defence, and then I'll have stop for 5 minutes to ask any questions you may have, and then we'll have a look at mid-court, then goals. First thing we'll talk about is really about how we get positioned in the circle. So if you've got 2 attackers in the circle, goal attacker, goal defence, we work really hard to make sure that we're in the right position. So for example, if the ball is on this side here, okay, I would be asking our defenders to get like that, to get into position where it's defender, attacker, defender, attacker. If the ball swung to the top, I'll be asking our defenders to get in the middle there. So the 2 defenders are on the inside. So I'll just rub a little bit out and we'll see if I've improved on this since last year. Okay, I think I have. Look at that. Okay, and I'll do that. So then we'd be looking to get our defenders on the inside. If the ball swings over to here, then we'd be going again. We'd be asking that defender to get around the front. So we want defender, attacker, defender, attacker, so that we've got the front covered. And that's if it's down the bottom of the circle. If it's the top of the circle, we would look a little bit different. We push them high. So simple activity that I will do there, and and I can show you a couple that we did tonight at EDS in a moment. So if the ball swung to here, we'd be asking to reposition so they're in the middle and pushing those attackers out. If the ball swings to here, we'd be asking the defender to get around so that if the ball goes in, so I'll just rub that out for a moment. We'll get rid of those. So if the ball's over here, sorry, get rid of that. If the ball, I lost my whole circle. Hope to get that sorted out. We can't play without a circle. Okay, so if the ball goes over here, like I keep saying, we would expect a defender, attacker, so that we either force a high ball in there so the back defender can have a go at it, or if it comes to these attackers here, then this defender in the front's got a chance to intercept it. So simple activity there is just to keep having free passes on the outside. I should call them P's, not T's. And we just pass the ball around regularly and make the defenders reposition. Now, I'm sure you would have seen that before. One thing I do then to extend it a little bit, or initially, is to say that the pass can only come in from the top passer there. So that means the defenders have to work really hard and not be lazy to get to cover that middle channel, so the goalies aren't in the middle if the ball goes in there. Then we can start talking about going randomly from any corner. Okay, so then to build that up, I will just then be talking about, well, these attackers can, these attackers on the outside, you just maybe start them a little bit further down the court, and they could just bring the ball down. And as they're bringing the ball down, you would again ask your defenders to keep repositioning. So now I know that, so that's if we were done on the bottom of the circle. If we're on the top, we would then be looking at it slightly differently. Okay, just put my line back there. If at the top of the circle, then we'd be talking about having a defenders below and trying to push them out and out, so that we're below, pushing away from the post, but giving ourselves a chance to make intercepts on the inside. All making sense? Now, people say, oh, okay, that looks all pretty simple, we should do that, but it's one of the things that we're working really hard with our state defenders, because we just don't do it all the time. We often get caught in behind, or we don't work hard enough to get round in front. And as I keep talking, as I've mentioned a few times, really this one here is really important, because often the defenders will get caught in the middle, the ball will be over here, and we've got to get that middle defender to work really hard to get round in front. But you'll see so often we concede that pass going into there, we just then step back and put a lean on. Okay, So right from the junior ranks, I'd be encouraging you to try to work to the front position or work that side on defence, so that you're actually working to control your opponent, not reacting. And when we hear junior coaches talk, or junior coaching, we talk about shadowing our opponent, I'd be really encouraging you to not so much shadow, but how can you control that situation? So where do you force the opponent away? So think about then how you can build that up. You can add, like I say, you can add passes down here. Oops. You can add passes down here, then you can put defenders on those passes, and you can bring the ball down the court, and just build it up. Because most of the work we do at the next level, we have some drills. We have passing drills like everybody does, and that's a really important part of our trainings. We always start off with some form of passing and footwork and balance, as I said at the start. But a lot of our training is done on just court scenarios, putting the people in positions, playing through the theme or what we need to do. Another way to just practice that, and this is, we actually did that tonight at, we did this one tonight at EDS training. I left EDS training to come to visit you tonight, which was good. They were going okay too. And another way to just do that, we had a passer on one corner, passer on another corner. And even though this is more like, this could be for mid-courts, but also for circle defenders. And then we had an attacker in the middle with a defender, another attacker in the middle with a defender, another attacker defender. We only had 3, but you could certainly have 4 in there if you wanted to. Maybe a ball start there. And we had the defenders always making sure that they were ball side from where the ball. So then they had to get a ball off here, the attackers, then they would have to maybe swing it to there. And the defenders would continue looking to make sure they were getting around the ball side and covering the pass. I haven't drawn that very well. And then we made it a bit more challenging by, oops, pardon me, we made it a bit more challenging by saying that the attackers, if the ball came to an attacker, then they had to pass to another attacker before they could go to another post. So then the defenders had to continue reposition and make sure that they were putting themselves in a position where they could always have a go at the intercept. So when we talk about defend to impact, we're talking, I'll just clear that off, clear all drawings. When we're saying defend to impact, we're making sure that defenders are always in the position or trying to get into a position when they at least can have a go at having a first ball intercept. Okay, I'll just stop for a second there. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that's a couple of activities there. If you have some questions at the moment, please ask them and I'll go back to it. But we're working really hard on getting cleanly around our opponent and making sure that we can intercept. Next one, we're talking about when we defend to impact, because a bit of a theme we've noticed quite a bit around netball everywhere in Tassie, and certainly even at our elite level, our state league level, our EDS programs. A lot of our defences, we say, for example, an attacker might come out, they might come out of the circle, come out to get a pass from here. A defender will come out with them. Okay, the attacker will go back in, and then our defender just runs back in with them. Okay, let's the attacker go all the way to the post. This one's probably come down to here by now and passes in, and we just run with them. So we're really talking heavily about challenging the players around blocking our opponents. So we talk about the 4 phases of the defense. I'm not sure if everybody's heard about those, but when we talk about, oh, look at that, I've just taken my whole court away. When we talk about the 4 phases of the defense, they what they are is go on, come out with your opponent on the first ball. So that's phase 1. So that's work your opponent. So you make the first ball. So you control your opponent. Number 2 is to have a go at the intercept. So try to have a go at the intercept. Number 3 is then block the attacker's move after they've passed it. And then number 4, the 4th phase. Number 3. Did I say hands up? Number 3 is hands up. Sorry, hands over the ball. I apologize. And then number 4 is then block your opponent's next move. So first one is work your opponent's first move. So try and deny the first ball, have a go at the intercept, hands up, and then number 4 is block the next move. what a lot of players do is the first line of defense is just to put their hands up and they think they're defending. So again, as we speak about defend to impact, work really hard on the 4 phases, making your opponent work everyone. So a bit of an activity we talk around this for our circle defenders, and we've done this quite a few times at EDS this year. We maybe put a few cones down here, a few dots down there, whacking the transverse line, and then we'll put in here an attacker with the ball. So the dots are ball, another attacker here, a defender here, and a defender here. Okay. So that attacker's got the attacker's got the ball here. So that defender's going to, yeah, that's right. So the attacker's got the ball here. So this defender's going to try to block this attacker's move. That attacker's going to try to get down the court. We might then try to pass that ball. So if that gets that one, then this defender's job will be to step up, shorten the distance, not necessarily block totally, but then try to deny that attacker going in. So these 2 attackers have got to try to work the ball all the way down and into the circle. So these 2 defenders have got to do what we just spoke about a moment ago, keep putting angles on their move and blocking those 2 attackers. So we want to avoid, as we speak about, often we want to avoid the attacker just running down here and our defender just running with them. So we have to work really hard at moving our feet and moving those angles. If the attacker, I'll just draw a little picture over here. If the attacker gets to here, then we're in real trouble. That means the attacker's beaten the defender. So the defender has to work really hard to get down and get in front of where the attacker is so they come back up the court. Am I making sense with that? So the reason start the attackers at the halfway line. I probably should have started them over the line, sorry. The transverse line, start them there and make them work really hard. So, and they have to get into the circle, but the 2 defenders have to work really hard to deny the entry of the circle. So lots of talk, maybe sometimes coming off your own player to double defend with your teammate. But when we get to game scenarios, making sure that the minimum when we pick up our opponent is we have to work. Go back. Work really hard at blocking them before they get over that line. Don't just jog in and follow them to the goalpost. So we're working really hard on that. So once they get a bit better, the 2 defenders are stronger at doing that, then we could take away these cones here and make the court a bit wider so that they've got to work a harder space. All right, so start it nice and tight and narrow for the defenders to start with. All right, well, I won't be able to do that anyway because I've got no court to play on because I keep rubbing it out. All right, so I'll get rid of that court anyway because I just made a real mess of that. But the idea is give the defenders some real success early by making the court nice and narrow and then extend it out further and further as they go with the idea. So in that one, we need lots of footwork. Again, having a look, not just blocking your opponent, but when they do come, is there a chance to make an intercept? So ask your defenders to continually think about, can I get the ball? Is there a chance for me to get the ball? Then if there's not, then we can then put our hands up, block the next move, but don't just concede back to hands up all the time. Ask the question, can I get the ball? Is there a chance to do that? All good so far? Okay, now the third thing that we're working a lot on, which links into what we're just doing there, I'll just get rid of that and draw a new court. I won't. And this is a really, these drills, as you can see, they're not really drills, they're more position, they're concepts or themes that we're working on. The last one we're talking about, because again, to defend to impact or really is to get our defenders to come off our attackers and make some intercepts. So what we could do is set up, put your 2 or 3 circle defenders behind the line there, have a passer in the middle here with a ball, and then we can have a row of attackers here and a row of attackers here. Okay, so these attackers, so what we do is this attacker, because we often see the ball come down to the pocket, so the attacker might drive down to there. I'd ask this passer to throw a loopy pass to here, and we just did this a couple of weeks ago at EDS training, and then get this defender to come out here and make an intercept that way. Do that one really quickly. So whoever gets the ball here, throw it back to the passer back here, and then this defender comes off, new defender comes on, and then we'll do it on this side. That one drives down here, passer will throw a loopy high ball to the corner. The next defender will go. So we do that drill, do it really quite quickly, because what we're asking these defenders is to become brave enough that if the ball goes to the corner or we haven't stopped their drive out the corner here, we're coming off our player to come and have a go at the intercept. Because our keepers and our defenders tend to stay at home a lot, and we wait for the action here. If we want to score goals or we want to defend to impact, if there's opportunities to steal the ball before it gets down there, well, that's what I'd be encouraging us to do. So if they starting getting really good at this, or they start to creep off early, because you can imagine the defenders would creep out early to try to make the intercept because it looks pretty fancy when they do, I would then, and I reckon you probably know the answer to this too, I'd put an attacker in there. I'd ask the defender to hedge off a little bit, so give a bit of space. That one drives down here, past there. But if this one goes early, then I wouldn't pass the corner, I'd pass it to the attack at the post. Okay, so that will then, this defender will then learn how far they can come off their opponent before they potentially give that ball to the post, makes that ball to the post open. Things to think about here is move this activity really quickly. So that one side, then do the next side, get your defenders on quickly. Make sure this ball's got a bit of loop in it so it sits up and the defender's got a chance to pick it off, and make sure the defenders are going inside their attacker. A habit can be that they'll come out and they'll go at the attacker, and then they'll get smashed, and then you'll get some injuries, and it's not all that, can be a bit messy. So they need to come at the line of the ball. So working really hard on that, and we've had some bit of success. It was really sort of both states 17s and 19s in a practice game on Sunday. I was really pleased that the defenders are now all coming off way more and having a go at the intercept rather than playing safe and staying at home. If we're working with really young kids, you can still encourage them to come off and see if there's intercept opportunities there, because by the time, if we just sit back here, by the time the ball gets into there, well, there's a reasonable chance they're going to get a shot. So if we can defend it a little bit earlier. So the three phases that we're working really heavily at the top level at the moment are the first one, our repositioning. So we're positioning to have a chance for the intercept. So we're getting that side on or around the front defensive position. Number two, we're talking about blocking strongly and really denying the next move. So having a go at that intercept, denying the next move. Or thirdly, having a go at the balls as they come down the pockets. That drill there, you can, I sometimes, when we talk, what am I doing there? I apologise. I'll get rid of that. You can put your wing defenders in a circle to do that as well, because wing defenders, they need to have flies at the ball coming down the mid-court as well. So anyone, wing defenders, goalkeepers, give them a go at that drill, because wing defenders will also need to have a fly at balls going to corners, balls coming down the court. Okay, I'll just stop sharing for a moment. Okay, any questions? No questions? Okay, does that make sense? Oh, I'm sure it makes sense to all you, all really smart coaches. Okay. Oh, thanks, Justin. I've got a couple. Thanks, Rosalie. Here we go. I've got some friends now. HP. Okay, thank you. All right, so you can see those concepts aren't really, they're reasonably quite simple, but that's how we play the game. We need to keep repositioning and giving ourselves a chance to get the ball and impact, blocking our opponent, so working hard, and that's the one the girls will do the least. They'll be happy to just turn around straight away and jog with their players until their player gets the ball again. So it's hard work, but it's just a mindset to work really hard at it. And then having the keepers brave enough to have a bit of a starting room to come off their opponent and have a go at the intercept. So if your defenders down the court are doing their four phases, the hands over, the attack the ball, hands over, block the next move, high balls are going to come in for your defenders down the court for you to have a go. And we're certainly working at our state level that we want to get more ball, because the more ball we get, the more goals we potentially got. And not just waiting for the opponent to make a mistake. How can we impact to actually get the ball? Rightio?
I can add to that, Fetch, if you like.
Thanks, Pete. That'd be great.
We're certainly, yeah, exactly what Fetch is saying. We're working hard on body position and angles and things like that defensively. I guess too, we're trying to instill that they're fearless, that there's no wrong answer, I guess. If you have a crack at that ball, you've got teammates to back you up. And I think that comes from confidence, one, but also just having, I guess we want a bit of a different attitude where you are confident to back yourself in and have a go at that kind of thing. So that's certainly what we're promoting with those older kids. But even with younger kids, I think you find, even in under 11s, because I coach under 11s as well, you'll have those great athletes, those kids that can run with everyone, they're fast, they're explosive, then they just run with everyone and they still take 20 intercepts in the game. So the habit is that I can just run with my player and I'll get 20 intercepts still. So it's still important, even though they're doing really well as juniors, you need to still be trying to teach them to have a go, then get backhands and dictate that next move. That's a really important skill for them still to learn, because they are a standout athlete at 12, 14, 16, 9. They still need to work on that basic, build on it.
Great. Thanks, Pete. Yeah, spot on. It is. It's like you say, being fearless, working with your teammates to do it. Now, certainly there's a few things to think about. Footwork's really important, doing it cleanly so that we're coming around the body so we move. So when you're doing a lot of your work at the early parts of your training session, do a lot of footwork drills, foot speed drills, repositioning drills, get the feet moving, because whilst we want to attack the ball, we also want to be disciplined to stay in the game all the time. So we don't want our defenders standing out because of contacts or obstructions. So I'd really encourage that, because, so get them moving, get them around, get them having a go at the ball, not just conceding and putting their hands up, because a lot of people think that's the first line of defence. All right. Thanks, Fee. And now anyone else has anything to contribute, that will always be welcome. All right, we'll go back to the whiteboard. No, we won't. I'll do that. No, I'm not going to do that. Hang on. Oh, now we'll talk a little bit about under centre courts, and I'll just clear all of that off. Clear all drawings. All right, so our theme in the centre court, I just put a few more names down too. So great to see everybody who's joined us. Really exciting to see so many coaches finding time to have a conversation tonight. Circle centre courts. Mid-court, we're working really strongly on what we're talking about, fast passing. Fiona and I actually had a meeting with the Netball Australia High Performance later today, and we're talking about how we're working on moving the ball quickly through the court and getting a lot of fast, what we call fast passing. So getting the ball out of our hands quickly so the opposition doesn't set up. So all the work we just talked about the opposition there, so they're not setting up, we're moving the ball down the court at speed, but in control. So really in control. And a big part of what we're talking about is passing and going again, or pass and go, which is like a give and go or a double play, whatever you like to talk about it. But we're really working strongly on it. Once I pass the ball, so this is me, I might pass it, or I might pass it to an attacker there. Where do I drive to again? So I could either get it back, or I might be creating some space, not standing there and just admiring our work and watching what's happened. The assistant coach here actually at State 19s of the weekend was he made me laugh actually, because I wasn't laughing about a lot, to be honest, but he made me laugh. He made me laugh because one of our players passed the ball and just stood there and watched it. And he did say to her, he said, "Look, I'll admire the pass for you. I'll do that. You go down the court and do something else." So because, and again, EDS tonight, I saw several players pass the ball and then just stand and watch. So that's what we talk about, staying engaged. So really looking at, and this is not just for mids, our circle defenders, our goalkeepers, our goal defenders, we expect them to pass the ball and drive again. As shooters, if they come out, let the ball go, look for some space, go again. So we want to stay engaged and continuing always having one or two options, so pass and fill space. And at the level we're working at, we're trying to talk about the ball out of our hand within 2 seconds. That's extreme, but we don't always do it, but we want to move it very quickly. So, and now these activities you would have all seen before, but again, they're things that we would do at state level, and certainly they get done at national level and other places. So we'll just do a couple of simple ones around fast passing and going again. We might have half a dozen workers down here, or whatever we'll have a thrower, maybe a thrower here with a ball, or I call them passes, a passer here with a ball, because I think too many of our guys actually do throw the ball. They need to pass it. Okay. And then, okay, that's the scale. So this one might just drive out here, get a pass, give the pass straight back, drive down here, get a pass, give the pass back, drive down here, get a pass, give the pass back, drive down here, get a pass, give the pass back. Now, you might think that all looks pretty simple, and that's, you know, the key to that is a lot of things here. Pass placement when we go fast, catching the return pass and balancing. So, because as we drive down the court, people are often look to step on, get ourselves off balance. And I spoke about earlier about how important it is to balance. So it's catch, drive again, receive the ball, pass, drive again, receive, pass, drive again. But making sure that every time we catch the ball, we're not stepping on, we're actually balancing and making sure that we catch, balance, deliver a good ball with our weight forward, go again. So that's encouraging our players to go down the court and get the ball, pass and go. So, and like I say, now you can add some defenders in there. You could add defenders on each of the passes, or you could add a defender on your worker. Another example of that, and like I say, I'm sure you've seen this one before too, is we'd give all of these players here a ball. So instead of the passes on the side, and I'd work both sides, of course, you'd do it down this side as well. If you had enough players, you could go down one side and then down the other side. Or, you know, these ones can stop and you swap over reasonably quickly, but these all have a ball. So in this situation, this time you'd pass it from here, lead, get the ball back. Pass it from here, lead, get the ball back. So this time the worker's got a ball, pass, lead down the court, pass. So you're passing and going. So you're not receiving the first one, giving it back. This time you're releasing the first one, getting it back. Releasing the first one, getting it back. And of course, then you could ask these ones to make some moves, some different changes, so they can make different prelims, so that the person driving down the court has to stay balanced. Now, you wouldn't have to necessarily do it down the side. You can do it down the middle. You can change it all up. But again, it's all about, I pass the ball, I look for the space, I drive again. I'll pass the ball. I know it's repetitive, but the things you're looking for there is good pass execution, powerful drives, prelims. Then you can add some defenders in there as well. Anywhere you'd like, you might want to add one or two defenders, so we have to work the ball. It doesn't always have to be long passes. Some of them can be short. We can do all sorts of different things with that. And then the next option you might want to think about, you might just take one of those P's out this side, have one over there, get rid of those little prelim moves, and maybe have one over here. Same activity, pass it. Oh, okay, sorry, pardon me. Same activity, pass the ball to this one, drive and get the pass back, pivot round, and then pass the ball to this one on this side of the court. Drive hard down the court, receive it back, pivot, pass to that one, drive hard again at an angle, receive it back, pivot, pass there, drive hard at an angle. So then you're using the width of the court. And again, I would certainly start getting these as you get a bit more experience. These ones, I would get them making preliminary moves and moving to different positions, so that you've got a balance, link, go again. And these ones then will also have to start reading where to lead. And then the next extension would be to put some defenders out there as well on these ones. So you've got to make those connections and even put a defender on that one. All right. But the things we're looking for here is good balance, good passing, but passing and finding space to lead again, rather than just pass and stop. One of the rules that we have with our goalkeepers at the next level, or it might be you might already do this, and I might be telling you something you've already done way before me, is that we talk. So if our goalkeeper, for example, has a ball down here, they might. I'll just give it the eraser. That might be the goal. Oops, sorry. That might be the goalkeeper, and they might pass it to goal defence there. Or maybe say the goal defence dropping there. A rule we have is that the goalkeeper can only get the ball back if they're moving forward. So they're coming back, so they pass, so they've got to move forward. So often the ball will come to here, and then the goalkeeper, and we'll pass the ball back to the goalkeeper standing still. We say, no, pass the ball there, and if you want it back, you've got to be moving forward. You've got to be driving into space all the time. So pass, go again. So, but we're talking about moving the ball at some speed. So that's our sort of theme or concept we're doing at state level. And I certainly know the 17s are doing that really well and finding some good space, moving the ball on. Second one, and I'll move into this reasonably quickly. We'll just get rid of all of that.
Fletch, can I ask a question?
Yeah, certainly. Who's that one?
It's Helen.
Hi, Helen. Hello. Yes.
Hi. Just when you're doing the pass and go, one thing I've found that the athletes really struggle with is looking, taking the time to look and see where the space is. So how do you teach that? Like, what do you say to the players to get them to actually look? And when do they look? Do they look when they're delivering the ball? Do they look when they're driving? What's the stage? Yeah,
no, really good point. What I do is wherever you get the ball, and I'm happy for other people to add to this, wherever they get the ball. So if it's, when you see me next year, I'll be really good at this. So, all right, we'll get rid of that. We'll do that. So wherever they get the ball, I always say offer to the post. So to give them a bit of time, if they get the ball there, they still have to look at the goalpost down here. So if I get the ball here, because sometimes I might get the ball here, there might be a drive, they only look inside. Is that what you're talking about, Helen? Not widening their vision? So I always say to look.
Yeah, looking at where the space is, So when they're giving and going, one of the things that I found is some people, some of the, particularly the younger athletes, they're really good at giving and going. They give and they go and they give and they go really strongly, but they don't look at where anybody else is on the court, and they end up running over their colleagues on the court.
Absolutely.
So giving and going, I guess, is a real skill, but when do they look? When do they actually take the time to look?
Yeah, certainly. So, well, once you pass the ball, you don't necessarily always, like you say, you can pass. I would then say you might hesitate there because you don't lose any time. You might want to buy yourself a time. You might even hold for half a second or a second and go again. So stop, have a look. And it may be if you've passed this one to this person here, you want to go again. You might look, create a bit of space here for yourself, and then go again. So it doesn't have to be fast and straight away. So even on those activities when we're going across, stop, balance, pass. Once you let it go, have a look, go again. So I would say you can use a second or at least a second sometimes to go again. So go with the ball, look down at the post to see what's open vision, the one without the ball, stop for a second, have a look, and then make a commitment to what you want to do. And it might be you have to create space to go in there. It might be it's just straight open, we can go there. It might be you have to come a long way out and come back in. But so the key is once you've let go of the ball, keep your eyes up, assess what's in front of you, and then make a move. So and sometimes it might be fill space, not even to get the ball. So, when you say pass and go, it's not always even getting the ball back. Sometimes it's pass and go there just to create for somebody else.
Yeah. Thanks.
Does that help? So,
because
you're right, you'll see everyone, they barrel and they go down and they crowd it up, or they'll run into somebody and do the old, so they need to just stop, have a look, assess it, and then fill some space. And if you're doing, and then a lot of that can then come from what we know about filling our channels up as well. So if we've passed it over here and there's lots of bodies over here, then we might, and move might be to come into the middle corridor as well. So having a bit of a look. But to get the ball going well and to make a move cleanly, and certainly with the younger ones, I would really tell them not to necessarily barrel off straight away, but to get it going really quickly, that's where our passing skills are really important. So passing skills, practice them until, don't say, our passing skills, our basics are good. Because again, if we do those sort of activities with our open team or our EDS programs, our pass placement is absolutely pivotal to our ability to make it work really well. And so other moves on that, you would have all done these sort of drills before. We might have a passer here and you just do some freelance work. You just have an attacker here, maybe attacker here, attacker here, attacker here, attacker here. Attackers spread down the court just to fill some space. Same scenario where we're moving the ball quickly, we're moving the ball quickly. We might pass it to here, drive on. This one then might lead down here. We might pass it to that one. Don't want to lead to that same space. So like Helen said, we then might double play into there. This one might come out. So same scenario, just lots of balls, just run it down the court through your positions. But again, asking your players, once they've passed, they can either go straight away or stop, look, and fill space. You know, so run a ball down there, get another ball on, another ball on. So just do it like you do in the game, but really encouraging that once they've passed, they have to go again somewhere. It might be to get the ball, it might be to stop and have a look, but make sure that they just don't stand and get disengaged with the game. Final one on the mid-courts. I'll just get rid of all of that. And the other thing we're talking about is around the front of the circle. So we're talking really strongly around, I didn't mention, sorry, the circle defender straight up to rebound practice. And you can tell me the answer to this when I come back on screen in a moment. How many of you practice your circle, your defense rebounds? How many of you practice that at training? I reckon I have a fair idea of the answer. I reckon you practice it at half court when the shooter puts a shot up and you do a rebound practice there. Okay? We ask the goalies to practice the shooting all the time. Get the defenders to practice their rebounding because, you know, it might be the one shot that gets missed in the last quarter that they must rebound to give you the outcome that you want. So practice and practice it with intent, not just because we asked to. Now, the other thing we're talking about we do quite a bit, and we do all sorts of variations of this. So that might be a center with a ball. That might be a wing attack here. We might have a wing defense here. We'll have a goalkeeper here. We'll have a goal defender here. We might have a goal shooter in the middle of them. So 2 defenders on 1 shooter. So that's really hard for the shooter to get the ball. So we'd be asking these 2 players to work really hard to get the ball down the court. So working hard at, and it might take 4 or 5 passes, wing, you know, making again pass. So you might pass the wing attack driving here. Then like Helen just said, you might clear, then cut and drive around, but working really, really hard to get the ball down the court. So, and the wing defenders picking one up on the way through. So what we're doing there is, so we get onto the circle. So it might take 2 or 3 passes to get there. When we get there, because it's hard to get the ball to the goal shooter in there, because our defenders are doing what we've asked them to do early with the defender, attacker, we might have to work the ball around the circle several times. Okay. So that's the first bit we want to get there, because so what we're doing a lot of work on here is because it's hard to get the ball to shooters. So how do we move those defenders? We land on the circle, we get a pass, we look to fake the ball first once every time. Get them to fake it once every time, not 4 or 5 times, but once, just to move the defenders a little bit, but also to buy yourself some time as a feeder, because often we come down here and we come down here really quickly at speed because it's fast. We've just done the fast passing. We get onto the circle and we pass it straight in, but the shooter's not ready. So when we get here, thinking about balance, fake it once, that buys you a little bit of time to see everything. And then I always say to our feeders, ask yourself the question, where is the defender? Where is the space the ball can go to for the shooter? What pass should I use? So when you're doing that fake, that gives you, now this is a bit more advanced for the older girls, but for the younger ones too, by just faking the ball once, it allows them to balance on the circle, give them time, like Helen just said a moment ago, and all we all said, is give them some time to have a look to see what's happening there before they release the pass. And then the next thing we say to them is the wing defenders there is then seal off the wing defender. So get 1 foot on the circle, hold the wing defender or the defensive center really strongly. So if the ball does come back out, you're an option. We often see like the center and they'll stand and they'll just stand flat on the circle, which allows the defender to get either side and intercept the ball. Get an angle when you're holding, so you've got to put your defender behind you. Okay, so what we talk about is work the ball down here, swing it round. You want to balance it. So you might have one at the top, one in the corner. So get onto the circle, fake the ball, assess what pass you should need, and then use the pass and then seal off the defense so that you can get the ball back if you need to be done. If the ball swings over to here, well, then we'll come around here and we'll get to the top. All right. So simple activity with that is to do that. Then how we build that up is we would build that up. We'd probably put a defensive center in there as well. Eventually we'd put another goalie in there and we just work the ball down but we can then put all different sort of challenges in there. We might say, all right, they have to have 5 passes before they can use the goalie. One we do for the defenders, which isn't really here, but one I do for the defenders sometimes with that first setup is, oops, I've erased too much. Oh, sorry. Is say to the centre courts have to have 3 passes before they can go to the shooters. They have their 3 passes, so the defenders here know that these are going to have 3 passes, so they can come out and have it, try and steal it, because they know it's not going to go to the shooter for 3 passes. So like we talked about earlier, come off your defender and have a steal, because you know you're safe, and it gives them a bit of, like Fiona said earlier, it allows them to be a bit fearless and come and make some intercepts. So mix up anything you like there, how many passes, add it, and just bring it from halfway down the court. But with the theme around getting onto the circle, repositioning, fake the ball, read the situation, seal for the next bit of play. All right, because again, often, like I say, we aren't strong enough when we hold on the circle. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed a change of speed as well. When it gets down there, change the speed. So by that time with the fake, so you change a bit of speed so you get a good feed. Because if you get the ball down to the goal circle, as coaches, you really want that ball to get to a shooter. Now, then it's up to the shooter to score the goal, but get it down there. Okay, so I think that's all the themes for the centre court. Oh, maybe one last little one. Stopping the drive. We'll just talk about defending the drive of centre courts. All right, so a couple of little quick activities. So that's all attack, and we need to make sure we're practicing defence as well for the centre courts. So a couple of little ones that we might do here. The first one here might be, what do we do here? What do we do here? We'll have a passer here, like a centre pass. Sorry, it's a bit off the page. We might have another passer here. We'll have a wing attack and a wing defence. So we'll say it's like a centre pass. We'll have the wing attack come out here, get the ball over the line, get the ball to there. They might pass it. You could put that about there. So we'll pass it to that one there. And then we'll do the double play like we said. So we'll look to come down here, get a pass here, whack a goal shooter in there, whack a goalkeeper in there. Shooter might come out, we'll pass to the shooter. We'll go again, we'll drive again, get it back from the shooter. Shooter drive back to the post, we'll give it to the shooter. So what we'll be looking on that one there, so that's the wing defence comes out, has a go at the first ball here. We'll pass it off. So, you probably stepped up over here. I haven't drawn that very well, but I'll pass it over there, send it to another player here. Drive, but then be looking for the wing defence to be blocking all these moves. So if they don't block this move, if you pass it in there, look to block that move. So look to keep the wing attack or the defense or goal attack. The goal defence can do the similar drill, working to keep their opponent off the circle. So we know they're going to go again, work hard to keep them off the circle. So looking, and again, thinking about your 4 phases of the defence, having a go at the first ball here if you can. If you don't get that, putting your hands up while they pass over here, block the next move, have a go, hands over that pass, block the next move. So working it down. So thinking about, again, not just coming out and then chasing our opponent down the court, coming out and trying to keep them off the circle, working really hard to keep them off the circle. So that's like a little concept there, but you could do that just as simply like that other blocking drill we did with the circle defenders. And we did this at the weekend at under 19s because we didn't have enough players down one end of the court. We just put a keeper in the circle there, and we had a wing defense here, a wing attack here, a center, defensive center here, a center here. In fact, we had another center court because we just had more of them. And we just made these have to do as many passes as they can, make the defenders make them do as many passes as they can to get there. And we had the keeper coming out to try and pick a few off on the way through as well. So that was just all those defenders trying to keep them off the circle. Didn't have a shooter because they were down the other end learning how to rotate, and we had the keeper coming out trying to pick some ball off. So just think about anything, whatever plays you've got or what theme you want. But like I say, our theme really is strongly to keep the opponents off the circle. But for our attackers, is to make those strong leads to get onto the circle. Okay, so and one last little one you might want to think about for, again, to help the the wing defenders, we might have a passer out. Oh, sorry. I like to die for every time I said that tonight. Okay, passer with a ball here. We might call that passer 1, passer 2 with a ball here. We might have a receiver 1 down here, receiver 2 down here. All right, we'll have a wing defense. Oops. Wing defense here, wing attack here, and we'll have a goal shooter and a goalkeeper. Goalkeeper, goal shooter in position. So what would say here, maybe for this first ball here, wing attack's got to get a pass from this one. Okay, wing defense has then got to try to block it, have a go at it. Wing attack's then got to get a second pass, but hopefully getting closer to the circle. So when they get down close to the circle, so hopefully they'll get there, get the pass, and then they can feed the ball to shooter, doing what we just said there when we talked about fake and feed, land on the circle. As soon as that one's done, as soon as the shooter shot the goal, give the ball to R1 here, and then wing defense and wing attack come straight back out and work the ball off P2. Same thing, 2 passes, come out, defender have a go, give it back to that one, come again. So that's a reset. We reset it back to there, come again, wing defense, and then we link with the shooter. Shooter gives the ball to R2, okay, and then we do it all over again. So you might repeat that 3 or 4 times. R1 will throw back to P1, R2 throws the ball back to P2. But these two here work for 2 passes, maybe 4 or 5 repetitions. Is that making sense? With the aim that the wing attack's looking to get on the circle, making good cuts and drives, or resetting if they can't get to the shooter, and then wing defense keeps them off the circle. Then you'd extend it by just saying you can go straight to the shooter if the shooter's open, out of goal defense, out of goal attack. Okay. So that's really for asking the wing defense to have a go at the first ball. Okay. Or then the next option is you don't throw it back on the reset. So you wouldn't throw it back here on the reset. So wing attack could come out, get the ball, throw it to the shooter. Shooter comes out, and then wing defense is going to have another go at that first ball going to the corner. So you can do it either where they reset or where the second pass goes straight to the shooter. And wing defense has got to work those angles and try to keep them there. So, all right, I'll just go off here for a moment. Any thoughts on that? Any questions? Anyone like to add anything? Because we'll then have a quick look at the goalies and then we're almost done. Hands up, who practices rebounding and training regularly? Be honest, Anne-Marie, you do? Good? Yeah, not enough, do we?
One thing about mid-foot stuff, Fletch. Just
Sorry?
one other thing. Just one other thing. We're talking about speed of release and stuff. And this is for all ages again, because I've seen all ages. So at the moment, just really look at their release point. Even in the state 17s, there are girls that drop the ball, catch it and drop it all the way to their waist to then come back up to release the ball, drop it to 2 hands rather than keeping it up here for quicker processing. So the release point is huge for the pass being direct, for the placement, for the speed of processing, all of that stuff. So it's something you can look at with kids of all ages.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't emphasize more about and whilst you might say, well, at our EDS trainings, our state trainings, we are constantly talking to players about release point and passing the ball into the right spot. Really aiming for perfect skills, not being a little bit a little bit complacent with them. So that's a really good point. Okay, so last little thing, if we haven't got anything to add to that, I certainly hope that we're covering what you want. But you can see that there's sort of drills, but they're really more, they're not just repetitive drills. They're putting things in as positions as specific as we possibly can. Okay, so last one thing. All right, we'll just clear that cord off. We'll get rid of that. Okay, so what the other thing we're really talking about strongly is getting our goalies to the post to make sure that our accuracy is really high, and so we're talking about getting so that's the post. We're talking about working as hard as we can to get ourselves into that inner circle, that 5 or 6 foot circle. That's where the high percentage scores, that's why all the tall goalies get high percentages, because they shoot from in there. That's why for those you can remember, your Sherrill McMahons, they could all shoot long. In that Meadows, they could all shoot long, but they did most of their shooting in there. They'd work themselves to the post, because that's where the high percentages come from. Out here, further out you go, naturally the percentage decreases a bit. So a couple of really simple activities for that. The first one I will be talking about is getting to post, but we'll talk a bit about a unit first, and then we'll talk inside the circle. So I'll just get rid of that. We'll just, oops, sorry. We'll just talk about some really simple activities here again. Like I've said, simple is good. So passer on the front here, passer maybe on the side here, might have a ball there, another passer here. Maybe a single goalkeeper in to start with, and then we'll have a goal attack and a goal shooter in there. Okay, so if the ball's on the side here, so I'll actually put the ball at the top. Oops, I'll put the ball at the top just to start. We'll put the ball there to start with. And you've seen this is pretty much the most common sort of move in netball as a unit. One breaks out, one gets the pass, the other split and re-offer to the post. Okay, so split and re-offer, but I'd actually have them going past the post. So split and re-offer there. Then we can change that round. If the ball goes over to here, the ball goes over to there, then we can just mix that up a little bit. So it doesn't necessarily have to be split like that. It might be goal shooter might come to here, goal attack might go to there. So they just read off each other. Ball swings over to here somewhere. Then we might have the goal attack might come to the top. Goal shooter might go to the post. So whoever's ball side leads first, and who's non-ball side, in that case, if the ball's over here, reads off it. So I always say front one leads, back one reads. But thinking about having two moves in the post, one to the ball, usually one to the post. So thinking about how you read off each other. So really not very complicated. You can get your junior kids to do a lot of that, but it's about getting yourself into that in the circle, because often our moves that I see a lot will come into the circle, and we'll come back out here and get the ball. Or we'll come along this way and we'll come back here and get the ball. How do we get the ball? How do we get the ball to the post so that we get some really easy shots? Easier shots. I don't think any shooting is really easy. I'm sure the shooters will tell us that. You know, that's why we have to treat them so well. So looking to read off each other or split or read off to the post. Now that's, you know, we can talk about rotations as well, but we'll just today, let's just think, because a little bit of a rule of thumb that I like to think about is I always say we need to have somebody covering the base, someone going to the top. So we've always got the baseline covered with a lead from the ball and someone open the top, because then that has to split your defenders. One defender's got to go there, one's got to go there. If they only stick with that one, well, then this one's open. If they go with this one, so you've got to spread your defenders. You don't want to have those two defenders just sitting there. So open them up. So one out, one to the post. Now one out, one to the post. So thinking about front one leads, back one reads off each other, but really strong leads, and try to get the ball going to the post, or not away from the post. If you do get to the post close, like to here, and you just open up in that inner circle, that's fine. But it's more, let's avoid that and that, or, you know, or that. Making sense? So, because the higher percentage is the more chance we want. So, a couple other little things, and now you'll laugh at these drills, but, well, I don't know if you'll laugh, but they're really simple. I'll just draw a last couple. I might have just gone to what they have written down here. I've got notes everywhere here. No, okay. No, I haven't got those. What am I going to do? Last couple, just thinking about one thing I will encourage you to think about with you. We'll just talk about here, maybe a passer here, passer here. Lots of your goalies out here, if you've got two or three of them, and just get them driving past the post. Driving in there, going to the post. And I talk about going past the post, because then you can always come back up or you can pop out there. But go past the post, because then the post doesn't become an issue. Because often we might, if we stop here, we pass the ball, it hits the post, or we slow down, or if we start slowing down before the post, then the defender catches up on you. So ask your goalies to go past the post. So the post, and then you can turn and shoot the goal, not pull up before the post. So that means it just, you know, so that makes it harder for the defender, and it also takes the post out, because I'm sure you all would have seen at different times in your career, the goalie goes to here, we pass the ball and hits the post because the goalie's worried about running to the post. So you get them to think about running in front of the post. So simple drills on those is just that one. Just drive in, get a ball going past the post. So we just drop, we drive in, defender cut, we drive in, we go and we get a pass from this one here. And then when we get a bit advanced, we can add a defender and the defender can go with them. So then when the defender goes with them, get them to go as deep as you can in that inner circle before they stop and open up, or stop and drive again, or stop and come out here. Get them to work as deep to the post as you can to try to get into that inner circle. And then, so do it at pace. So when we talk about that, it's pretty much it. So, and then we can just mix it up. You can have goalies coming from both ends, front cuts, whatever you might like. But all right, and the last one is an area that I think is important when we talk about two goalies to the post. A couple of other activities you might want to think about is what we talk about two goalies coming into the circle. So you might have a wing attack here, goal attack here. Center here. You might have a goal shooter, goal attack. Okay, these start with a ball each. You've probably done a drill similar. These start, shooter comes out, pass the ball to shooter, drive to the top of the circle, get the ball back, pass to the shooter going back, goal attack comes out, pass the goal attack, drive on, ball back, drive back in. So you're getting all the things we talked about earlier tonight, double plays, coming out, going back to the post. But the key to this is where do we enter? Because we often see that when goalies are on the move, they both enter and they end up on top of each other in the circle. So when you're doing this with the really young girls, you can say, all right, well, one might call base first up and the other one might say top. So initially when they're young, they might want to use their voices and talk. Eventually, we don't have time at the next level up to talk, so they have to read off each other. And I always think a good rule of thumb for this one is whoever crosses the line first makes the choice. So if the goal shooter crosses the line first, they can choose to go to the base or they can choose to go to the top. If the goal attack comes across the line second, they go to wherever the goal shooter hasn't gone. So that's a little bit like what Helen mentioned earlier. Once that you're given going here, stop and have a look first rather than just go in, because we tend to go in and we just jam each other and we bring the defenders on top of each other in there. So whoever crosses the line first, they choose top or base. Whoever comes second, they fill the other space. So then the next extension from that would be, goal attack, goal shooter, and you swap sides. This one might come out, you pass it, and this one comes out, you pass it. This one drives on, but this time they'll get the ball from the opposite feeder. So instead of getting it from the same side, this time the goal attack will get the ball from here, and the goal shooter going back in will get the ball from that one. So they just got to then have a look and open their vision and be a bit smarter. Then you can add a goalkeeper in there if you want. Then you can add goal defenders, and then you can build it up all the way down the court. So it's not often you have both shooters out of the circle, but sometimes you do. But the key on what we're looking for there is making sure that the circle has always got a nice spread in it. We're not always cramming up. So we're making sure that when we enter the circle, we've got the top covered, we've got the base covered, and there's lots of space. And then again, it's extending the defenders rather than just crowding up and having to come away from that way. Doing these sort of drills like that will get people going to the post. Then you can take one ball out if you like, and you can just build it up. But having the shooters having to read off each other, who's in first, who's in second. That was like that. Oh, what happened to Costello? Who's on first? Rightio. And I think that was about all I was going to show you tonight. But again, we're doing a lot of work on that at state level, because we're asking our goalies to come out here. Maybe it might be our shooter coming out off a wing attack on a centre pass, which would be down here. And our goal attack could be coming around this way through the back door. and then the shooter's coming back in. So we're doing a lot of work to making sure that in that case, we've got both goalies out. So in that case, how do we make sure that we're reading entry? So if the goal attack came in first, then I'd expect the goal shooter would come to the top on that. All right. Any questions or any thoughts? But that's really where we're going. So what we do a lot, I'm not saying that we're perfect by a long shot, but we can call those drills, but we look at a lot of the situations of what we need or what we want, and then we try to make activities that suit that, which is, take a piece out of your game and put it on the court and just run it, basically run that piece at training. So, but certainly lots of passing drills, lots of footwork drills. Look them up in books or online, or come to some state trainings, or go and watch other coaches, because passing drills, footwork drills, defensive drills are really important. But also think about then how do they then transfer into what you're trying to do in those specific positions. But going back to what I said at the start, we're talking about defend to impact, attack on and off the ball, and find ways to score more goals. So the best way to score goals is to get into a really good shooting position. And then our themes were positioning, blocking, intercepting, rebounding, fast passing, making good decisions on the circle edge, and defending to stop the attackers coming on, and then leads the post, entering the circle, and then working the circle. I didn't really do rotations, but that's probably for another day. So questions, please, if you have any.